What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week of Hero or Zero here on the Heroes for Hire podcast. My name is Shaun Mean, and joining me as always is amateur luchador Ciara Lawler.
I get them in the headlocks, and I'm not going to do an accent.
Good. That was a test, and you passed.
I'm not getting cancelled today, good sir.
You can't trick me again, Shaun.
I've already been cancelled 4 times.
Oh, it's impressive. Connor, would you like to tell the people listening to the podcast what Hero or Zero is all about?
Well, Hero Zero is the show where we choose one comic book character every single week. We talk their good points and their bad points, and we generally just give you a bit of a rundown of everything to do with that character. So I normally talk DC characters, Shaun normally talks Marvel characters, and Shaun, it is your week, so I'm interested to know who you've chosen.
Well, like Marvel, you know, specifically my favourite character, Spider-Man. Quite a good rogues gallery, I think you'll agree.
I would say probably second best to Batman, but they're both very, very close. It's like a 1-2.
On par, maybe on par.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah. And like, I appreciate that. Someone else who appreciates it, in fact, is a little known company called Sony Pictures.
The creators of Morbius.
The creators of everyone's favourite superhero film, Morbius. Yeah. And so they've been having hit after hit out the wazoo, and we got a little bit of an announcement earlier in the week that they're going to be moving into production on a film about a Spider-Man villain called El Muerto.
But Shaun, can I just ask?
Yeah.
Sony own Miles Morales, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
And they also own Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah, they do.
Oh. And they also own like Gwen Stacy and Spider-Gwen and all that stuff. All
them. They all own them, but they thought...
Yeah.
El Muerto. Way to go, my dude. And I think you'll agree.
Can I just ask one it's a very small question.
Go ahead.
Who the fuck is El Muerto? Am I a bad Spider-Man fan for not knowing who he is?
Well, I think you might be the worst Spider-Man fan there is, Connor, because... How could you... It's so easy to learn about El Muerto because he shows up in a grand total of 2 Spider-Man comics.
So, they've chosen a character that showed up in 2 comic books to do a movie with.
Yep.
Right.
The only reason I can think of that they did this is that El Muerto is a wrestler. Yeah. And the guy that they have to play him, Bad Bunny,
yes,
he is a wrestling fan. He's often like a celebrity wrestling guest.
True. I think he competed at WrestleMania this year and last year.
Yeah, that's it. So they presumably said, hey, you want to do a movie? They said, okay, what Spider-Man villains do we have? And they said, well, this one's like a wrestler luchador type.
Oh.
And he's like, I like wrestling. I can do that.
And you know, Spider-Man, he has his mask from luchador stuff. So, I mean, it all comes together, Shaun.
It's all tied together. Yeah. It's all tied together. And what's also tied to his story is an interaction with Spider-Man, which might be difficult in the Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters or Spunka.
He has only appeared in 2 comic books. So, is this the closest we're going to get to original content ever in a movie for the next 20 years?
I think it might be, because they'll have to flesh him out somehow.
We're going to have to write this ourselves, lads.
So this might be the shortest Hero or Zero of all time. I was about to say
2 issues. We normally do 25 minutes to half an hour for a Hero or Zero.
I'm aware.
How are we going to fill this time?
Look, I've got a page and a bit, Connor, so we'll do our best.
So anyway, in the step 1, he does this. In issue 2, does this.
So, apologies if I butcher any names, by the way, but Juan Carlos Sanchez was trained his entire life by his father, Marcus Estrada de la Garcia, to be the next... A very good name, very strong name. He was trained to be the next in a long line of El Muertos. So El Muerto is a mantle that's passed down, and it is they're all wrestlers, and they all wear this like mystical mask that gives them like super strength and gives them the El Muerto powers.
It's very luchador that you would pass the mask down generation to generation anyway, so they've included superpowers within it.
which is quite nice, and it kind of gives respect to the mask. Part of the, I suppose, the ritual of becoming El Muerto is that you have to fight and defeat another character called El Dorado, and he's the one who kind of gives the mask its powers.
Right.
Now, Juan Carlos, he decides he does not want to be El Muerto. He doesn't want to deal with all of this.
I'm going off to be a banker, Dad.
I'm going to find, work as a UFC fighter, Dad.
I'm a big fan of headlocks and UFC. I don't like springboards.
So he refused to fight El Dorado as part of the ritual. As punishment, El Dorado tried to kill his father.
I mean, that is salty.
It's not great. It is not great. But look, basically Juan Carlos tries to stop El Dorado from killing his father, as any good son would.
Makes sense.
And El Dorado's like, hey, that's pretty brave of you. What I'm going to do, I'm going to give you 10 years to train. And if you can defeat me after 10 years, I will let you and your father live. Otherwise, I'm going to kill you.
Oh, okay.
One thing he also stated is that in that 10 years, he has to defeat and unmask a masked hero.
I'm starting to see where this is going.
So, in order to save himself and his father's life, he has to fight and defeat and unmask a masked hero. And so El Muerto decides to battle Spider-Man.
Oh, for God's sake. I mean, does he have powers?
He's quite strong.
So no.
No.
Right. So, I mean, we have seen gods go up against Spider-Man. Spider-Man is broken most of the time in terms of powers. You cannot hit him, and he has the power of like 10 million people at once in his fist. So
yeah, he has the proportional strength of a spider, but he's the size of a man.
Yeah, and also he has spidey sense, so no matter what you throw at him, he will just avoid it. So at that point, you're just a dude trying to punch a lad who you're never going to hit.
Exactly. But here's the thing, is that it doesn't have to be like a brawl on the street kind of a deal. He doesn't have to attack Spider-Man while he's swinging from rooftops.
WrestleMania main event.
What El Muerto does is he approaches J. Jonah Jameson and asks him to set up a wrestling match.
With Bonesaw.
With Bonesaw. And during the match, Spider-Man accidentally poisons El Muerto with a stinger that sprays out of his wrist.
All right, hang on.
Yeah.
First of all, disqualification. I don't
Absolutely.
know if we
it's
all
not regulation.
That's clearly a loss to Spider-Man. You can't bring foreign objects into the ring, like, say, stingers, steel chairs, ladders. Not allowed. Secondly, arrest that man for murder. So there are my 2 points on this piece of news.
He just poisoned him and he immediately took him to a hospital, Connor.
He poisoned him and then said sorry. Oh, that's very nice.
He felt, I'm sorry if you got offended.
The poison.
They were doing a whole bunch of stuff with Spider-Man at this point where he was getting like actual spider bits in him. Very strange. But he took him to the hospital and he recovered from the temporary paralysis.
Paralysis?
Oh, he was paralysed. He was paralysed by the stinger that Spider-Man just grew.
With J. Jonah Jameson. He's a menace.
He is a bit of a menace, isn't he? So after this fight, however, the 10 years were over. The 10 years of training that El Muerto was allotted. And El Dorado came to kill El Muerto, Connor.
Oh, fuck.
Now, seeing this, Spider-Man came to his rescue.
He's going I'm going to paralyse both these lads at once there. Double paralysation.
My new thing is paralysing luchadors. That's what I'm about.
He's just non-stop in Mexican wrestling rings. I'm going to stop this career right now.
So Spider-Man came to his rescue. He fought El Dorado until El Muerto recovered and proved his bravery by fighting El Dorado. And while El Muerto held him off, El Dorado wears this golden armour, and Spider-Man makes some magical serum that dissolves the armour, and then El Muerto punches the shit out of El Dorado.
I have to be honest, in my head, El Muerto is holding his arms behind his back while Spider-Man just jabs to his stomach.
He's working the body.
He's working the body. And El Muerto's just holding his arms like, let me go.
And so, defeated, El Dorado fled, leaving El Muerto just kind of a free agent. He's quite strong. He's on the side of good, generally. But like all Sony characters, he's a bit of an anti-hero.
But how is he an anti-hero?
Because he's... I don't know.
Look, I know that's not on you to answer that. I'm just raising the issue of... But I know Sony like anti-heroes. Venom, Morbius... Anybody else they have probably lined up that's a bit shit. Kraven the Hunter, that movie is already coming out as well.
Yes.
But this lad, in what way is he an anti-hero? In that he didn't want to become a luchador. And then he got told, your dad's going to die if you don't train. And then he trained, and then he saved his dad's life.
But he tried to fight Spider-Man once.
But he tried to... Because the guy said, I'm going to kill your dad.
That's true. And he did, like, fight him in, like, a controlled setting, which Spider-Man then took advantage of.
In fact, Spider-Man poisoned him.
That's true. You'd say something if he, like, fought dirty against Spider-Man.
He's trying to generally win, and Spider-Man brought poison into it and paralysed him.
He's honouring his family tradition of being a luchador and giving a good fight.
He just
Spider-Man is just like,
trying to save his dad's life, and he's like, he's an anti-hero. Oh, he's a bad guy.
He's a bad un. And so the only other mention of him is that after Civil War, Tony Stark said that El Muerto was one of the many people who needed to be monitored after the Superhuman Registration Act. He was just kind of like on a screen, and
so
that's the last we've seen of him.
Wasn't even like a big shout out. It was just he was on a screen.
He was on a screen. He was just there.
I love the fact that Tony Stark is like, we better watch out for this guy. He's got no powers and is just normally, he was paralysed for a little bit, to be honest. And normally he's just trying to save his dad's life. So
that's the thing.
Fucking keep an eye out for him. He's not going to do anything, but, you know.
Well, Connor, most of the time he might just be a regular strong man. But El Muerto's mask grants him superhuman strength, allowing him to lift 30 tons.
So he does have the powers now.
He does have the powers now because he has the mask. He accepted that.
Then he has to be monitored. He
has to be monitored.
I think we have to kill him.
But the thing is, if you unmask him, he's a regular man.
That's true also, but I think death is the only option. I think we send Spider-Man in with multiple darts.
You're just fully into paralysing this man over and over and over again.
That's what Tony Stark's plan is.
And he also has very high endurance while wearing the mask.
Galactus is in the background destroying planets, and Tony's like, paralyse him again, Peter.
Keep him in control.
If this guy gets loose, we're all doomed.
And then in terms of abilities, El Muerto is a highly skilled wrestler, extensively trained in both freestyle and shoot-style grappling.
So is Bret Hart. He's not on the fucking watch list.
He's fluent in Spanish and speaks broken English.
Stone Cold Steve Austin gets tackled to the ground by Tony Stark. We can't have him out there, lads.
Bring in the needles, Peter.
The Rock, you're fucking next. Right?
Like, The Rock should absolutely be playing this dude, by the way, but, like, what can you do?
He's Black Adam. He's too gone.
He's spoken for. Yeah. And then I did find a Marvel 1-7 rating system for this man, Connor.
What are you talking about?
And so these are all while wearing the mask, by the way. So he has an intelligence of 2, strength of 5, that's pretty good, speed of 2, durability of 3, energy projection of 1, and fighting skills of 5. So he's very strong and good at fighting while he's wearing the magical luchador mask.
And without the mask, is he just 2?
Without the mask, he will be a 2 in strength, yeah.
So he's just generally just a lad who goes to the gym.
Yeah, just a regular man who's quite good at fighting.
Right, okay.
But not as good as, like, the Punisher across the board.
I'll be honest with you, I think he needs to be stopped. I feel like I feel like the death penalty needs to be brought back. Just for this guy.
Just for this one man, I think.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm curious to know, like, I think it could work as a film, but they're going to try and tie it into Morbius and Venom and all that stuff. But I think you just make a standalone, here's a movie about a wrestler in the Marvel cinematic, or not the cinematic, but in the Marvel world. And here's what he gets up to. I think that story could legitimately work if done well.
Can I just raise the point that this is Sony?
Ah, he's got me again. Oh no.
Their last two movies are Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and Morbius.
Let There Be Morbius, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not looking good for El Muerto, I will say.
Like, they have Spider-Verse, but that was Phil Lord, Chris Miller, like, in a weird animation corner.
Yeah, which I feel wasn't too heavily interfered with, unlike everything else that Sony puts out.
Yeah.
But it's just wild that this is what they announced. And like, because I was in like Facebook groups about comics and stuff like that, and like Spider-Man fans are like, "Who is this dude?"
That's the best. Just like pick a character who's in 2 issues and isn't even that big a character, and we're going to make a whole cinematic universe around him, because nobody can say you're doing him wrong. You can't not do him justice.
That is true. They do have a lot of freedom with this guy, as
but also
opposed
the issue,
to
Sony have a lot of freedom.
that. How much do we trust Sony? Not very much, based on past experiences.
Well, of every live action movie they've done that didn't include Kevin Feige helping, does that include Venom, Venom 2, and Morbius?
I think that's it. I think that's all of. I think that's all of the Sony Marvel properties that are out at the minute.
And so they're doing Craven at the minute. That we haven't seen that. We don't know if that's going to be
doing a Madam Web thing as well.
Madam Web also, because you see, nobody wants to see Miles Morales. That's shit, right? Nobody wants to see the Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Andrew Garfield. Fucking
Andrew Garfield has fallen out of favour with Spider-Man
What's he done
fans,
lately?
I would say.
What has he done lately? Absolutely nothing. Nobody wants that. What people need is Kraven the Hunter, Madame Web, Morbius, and Venom. Now, if I lined up, I love the idea of if I had told you 10 years ago, there's going to be a Spider-Man universe, right? No Spider-Man.
Unreal.
Spider-Man's not there.
Right. How's that going to work? Who's the main character?
We've got Venom, Morbius, Madame Web, and Kraven the Hunter, and El Muerto.
First of all, who's El Muerto? Second of all of those are quite heavily tied to Spider-Man, Connor.
All their
It'd be ludicrous.
storylines almost notoriously involve Peter Parker.
Yeah. Also, that Craven movie, they're definitely just going to do Craven's Last Hunt straight away, right?
I mean, it's Craven's Last Hunt without the emotional impact of everything else. But also, how do you do Craven's Last Hunt without Spider-Man?
You bring in El Muerto, I think.
El Muerto's the new Spider-Man. I mean,
now look,
Miles Morales is there.
He's right there. Andrew Garfield will come back for it, lads.
Lads, there's options. Oscar Isaac is playing Spider-Man 2099. He'll happily do that. Real life action.
He'll take it. Just give him 12 minutes away from Moon Knight and he'll do your Spider-Man. He doesn't even need to be in the whole thing. Just have a Spider-Man in a boxing fight. He doesn't even have to be unmasked. It can be anyone. It doesn't matter.
Bonesaw.
Bring in Bonesaw is what I'm saying.
Unfortunately, Randy Savage has passed away, so we cannot bring in Bonesaw. But at the same time, there should be a Bonesaw replacement.
Yeah, like the Sony Pictures version of Bonesaw, you know?
Who's bad at wrestling? Randy Savage, one of the legends, one of the best of all time. So we need to bring in someone who looks like Randy Savage, but is not good, that nobody's interested in.
But, like, I don't think Sony would be as campy as the Raimi movies were and have I think they would have a Roman Reigns and take it really seriously.
And Morbius would be there. He'd be just in the crowd.
Yeah, and Venom would be like one of the reporters on the side.
Oh, yeah, and he's just like fidgeting. He's fidgeting as he goes.
He's so fidgety, it's hilarious. That's my report on El Muerto, Connor.
I mean, it's a character that we all know and love. It's a character that, I mean, us Spider-Man fans, obviously know everything about him.
Us OGs.
Well, my back tattoo is El Muerto, so I know.
That is true. That is true.
And so the fact that he's getting his own movie, I'm so excited. I've been craving this for at least minutes.
Ever since I heard about El Muerto.
This was the greatest thing I heard. Ever since I heard about El Muerto 9 minutes ago, I've been in online groups starting petitions trying to get this taken up shot.
Well, look, they're making the movie though. That's already been announced.
The petition is just to stop the movie.
Connor, would you like to take us out?
By the way, they should do Nacho Libre and just bring in Jack Black to play El Muerto.
That's actually class. That would be perfect. Do it again. Do Nacho Libre again, please.
And this is our shortest Hero Zero of all time, I think.
Think it might be. This is what when we pitched Hero Zero to each other, we were like, oh, it'll be like 15 or 20 minutes talking about a character.
But
then it just
turns out
spiraled
most characters we talk about have been in more than 2 issues.
That's that's one of the problems with comics these days, I think.
Just keep coming.
Just keep coming, and they don't stop coming. Am I right?
Stop, lads. Just stop for a few. Do you want me to take us out, Shaun?
Yes, please, Connor.
So whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on, if you could give us a like and review, that would really, really help us out. Much appreciated. All the links are down below for all the socials, so Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're on TikTok now. But we also have a website, so if you liked what you heard, but you're thinking, what other episodes have they done? Maybe what other Hero Zeros have they done? You go to the heroesforhire.ie website. You can check every Hero Zero we've done. Maybe you have a character in mind. Just search for them. They'll pop up. If we have done them.
If El Muerto has gotten you in the mood for other excellent Spider-Man villains, someone similar, maybe Green Goblin, you could take a look at. I think that'd be a good jumping off point from El Muerto.
You could also search for Morbius. I think we have done Michael Morbius.
I think we have actually, yeah.
So they're all up there. We've covered a whole host of characters, DC and Marvel. We also have a Patreon, so you can support the show. You can either go to the website, there's a button there, or you can head on over to patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast. Support us there. We've done loads of movie reviews, we also have Moon Knight reviews. We've got most of the Disney Plus reviews are all up there from all the different shows. And most importantly, could you just tell one human being that we exist?
Just the one, please.
So I've been Ciara Lawler.
I've been El Shaun.
And we shall see you later.
Bye.